Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about the mid-chapter development update for September 2021 part 1. They will be coming out with a second one later and we'll be going over that. And because we all hate to read, I know you do, I do too, but you know what? Someone has to do it. So we go ahead and do that for you. Now, before we get into this, I just want to let everybody know that we do stream throughout the week at twitch.tv/Parklis. So come on by, have any questions, just want to say, hey, whatever, we're down for that too. So as we get into this is a developer update. This is upcoming events and changes that are going to be happening or already have happened to Dead by Daylight and the Fog. So let's dig right into it. We're back with another developer update, a series of posts outlining some of the upcoming changes to Dead by Daylight. You read that title correctly. This is part 1. There is much more to cover this time around, and we couldn't fit it all into one post, and the writer passed out halfway typing this. It's not that long. Anyway, killer updates. That's right, Evan McMillan himself, the Trapper. Starting things off with a bang, or rather a snap, we've made a series of small changes to the Trapper. Did you know that the number of bear traps that spawn on the map is random? That's right, each trial will spawn between 4 to 6 bear traps at random. Now you can take this interesting little fact and completely forget about it, because that's no longer how it works. Now, 6 traps will always spawn, not including the traps you load in carrying. This takes away some of the random element in playing the Trapper and makes each match feel more consistent. He's only been around for 5 years. Having more traps is great and all, but wouldn't it be nice to carry more than one without add-ons? We sure think so. The Trapper will now be able to carry, and start with, 2 bear traps by default. This will help you get up and running quicker without relying on add-ons. Now, the Trapper's bag add-ons have been adjusted or repurposed accordingly. Finally, on the subject of add-ons, we've done a pass on some of the least used add-ons and either increased their effects or removed their downsides or gave them new effects entirely. Here's an example. We have Tension Spring. This is a very rare bear trap add-on. A high tension spring that snaps back into place after being stretched. A bear trap resets 2 seconds after a survivor escapes from it. Now read that carefully. This doesn't mean after it's been popped by a survivor. Someone has to step in it, and then after the survivor escapes from it, it'll reset in 2 seconds. If you pull them, that's not an escape. So I'm willing to bet that that won't reset if you pull them. They have to physically escape from it. Now, the Trapper Sack, another very rare add-on. All bear traps are carried at the beginning of the trial instead of spawning on the map. So we finally are allowed to have all the bear traps on our Trappy Boy. However, there is a downside. The second line reads, bear traps cannot be picked up. So once you place them, make sure that's where you want them, because you're not going to be able to move them. Yes, you'll have 8 or more traps on you, but once they're there, they're there. However, you combine this with iridescent stone and they'll reset on their own. Tension Spring, that can kind of work, but we'll see how it plays out. They're probably going to be doing some more changes in the future. We'll keep you updated. Now with the Spirit. The Spirit has been a strong killer since her release, and with that in mind, we've made some changes that aim to increase her skill ceiling while still giving survivors some counterplay. When close to the Spirit's husk, survivors will not receive any indication that the Spirit is phase walking. Originally, this was intended to be a fun mind game. Is she using her power or is she faking it? Though in practice, it often doesn't feel that way. No. This lack of feedback forces you to make a guess and hope it pays off, which can be great when it works out in your favor, but can also feel awful when it doesn't. To add more skill into Spirit's counterplay, we're making 2 changes. Any survivor within 24 meters of the Spirit will now hear a directional phasing sound. This lets you know whether or not she is phasing and also gives you a rough idea of which direction she's coming from. The Spirit's footsteps will now kick up dust while she's phasing. Keen survivors may be able to pinpoint where she is, but tall grass and other obstacles may make it difficult. These 2 changes aim to add more skill into playing as and against the Spirit and reduce the reliance on coin flips where you make a guess and hope it pays off. Additionally, we've done a pass on some of the Spirit add-ons to bring them more in line and make lesser used add-ons more appealing. Like the Trapper, some of these changes are small tweaks while others are completely new effects. Let's go back up to that Spirit phasing. Until we actually can figure out how it works out in practice, I kind of like the idea, especially with directional. The dust may not be that big of a deal. You can kind of see her move grass already, so we'll see. Anyway, the Wazasashi Saya during Yamaoka's haunting, use the active ability button to return to the husk and end the haunting. So you can leave and then come straight back. That's pretty interesting. Unfortunate, because people are going to be using it to proxy camp the hooks, but interesting. The Senko Hanabi, sorry, I'm terrible with pronunciation, and you'll tell me in the comments if I got it wrong. When Yamaoka's haunting ends, the spirit's husk explodes and any vault locations within 4 meters are blocked for 5 seconds. Might be fun. I don't see it getting used. We'll see. Now, killer add-on updates. What does moderately mean? How much more is tremendously compared to considerably? If you ever found yourself in this situation, and I know most of you are, you're not alone. We use descriptive words like these to keep descriptions simple, but they end up causing just as much confusion since it's not immediately clear how much they're doing. With that in mind, we have done a pass on all killer add-ons to list their exact effects. We plan to extend this to the rest of the game, items, perks, etc. in the future. On top of that, killer add-ons that apply a status effect will now have a brief description of what the status effect does. While our designers were going through hundreds of killer add-ons, one by one, to update their descriptions, they also noted down a few for changes as well. There's far too many to list here, but we've changed some add-ons for the following killers: the Hillbilly, the Nurse, the Shape, the Hag, the Oni, the Blight, the Wraith, the Pig, and the Ghostface. These changes focuses mostly on unused add-ons or add-ons that are too weak or powerful. Moving on to perk updates. A variety is the Spice of Life and incidentally Dead by Daylight matches too. In an ongoing effort to give you more options to choose from, we're updating a huge list of perks. Thank you. This is what we've been asking for 3.5 years. Without further ado, let's run through some of them quickly. These are actually really cool. I'm looking forward to them. They have 1.5 billion perks and 900 million need changing. Anyway, Vigil. Nice and simple. We're increasing the recovery rate from 10, 15, 20% to 20, 25, 30%. That's huge. Anyway, additionally, Vigil will now increase the recovery rate of broken, exposed, and oblivious status effects as well, where applicable. In short, more situations where it's useful and even faster recovery tool. This makes Vigil pretty decent. I'm not going to say top tier yet. Again, have to see it in practice, but pretty nice. Babysitter / Guardian. Another small tweak, the rescued survivor will now receive a speed boost for 4, 6, and 8 seconds, in addition to not leaving scratch marks or pools of blood. The aura reading duration has also been doubled. For the people can create some amazing moments, but the trade-off of being broken can make it very risky to justify using. We're decreasing the duration of the broken status effect from 110, 190 seconds down to 80, 70, and 60 seconds. So this basically becomes an exhaustion that's not an exhaustion. 60 seconds makes a huge difference. If you don't believe me, try running an exhaustion rank 2 compared to an exhaustion rank 3, or even a rank 1. Hex Retribution. Previously, Hex Retribution would only make a survivor oblivious if they cleansed a dull totem. Now, interacting with any kind of totem will make them oblivious. Additionally, we've increased the aura reading duration once the Hex totem is cleansed to 15 seconds. So they're trying to be sneaky and say with the boon totems coming out for survivors, interacting will also make you oblivious. And also, when you're breaking non-dull totems. So, yeah. And this brings us into Hex Blood Favor. This perk shipped with very safe conditions, so it didn't get out of control. Upon reflection, we feel comfortable with removing some of these restrictions. Hex Blood Favor will no longer have a cooldown and will also activate upon successful special attacks as well. So you may see a lot more Hex Blood Favors come into play here. I know I'm going to be testing it out a whole bunch. I know Ots will as well. Hex Third Seal. Just like the above, we've added special attacks to Hex Third Seal as well. This should make the perk more practical on killers that focus more on dealing damage with their power. I don't think you're going to see Third Seal out a lot. However, one of the most underrated status effect changes is blinded. Most people don't realize just how powerful blind is. So you may see it creep up here and there, but not as much as you might think. And then finally, Hex Thrill of the Hunt. With boon perks making their way to the game, more on this soon, we decided to give Thrill of the Hunt some love by extending the speed penalty from cleansing to blessing as well. So the speed penalty will also affect survivors blessing their totems. And I'm pretty sure that goes up with Hex Retribution as well, because it says they are doing it to any interaction with any totem. So we'll probably see Retribution and Thrill of the Hunt played a little bit more, as well as Blood Favor, once these changes happen. Now, item and character kill switch. This was pretty interesting to read. Last but not least, let's talk about a game health feature, the item and character kill switch. With over 50 playable characters and their cosmetics, nearly 200 perks, and hundreds more add-ons and offerings in the game, sometimes things do break. Every patch behavior. Rarely things will break in a way that makes them exploitable, and that can make the next week or two before a fix really rough. Enter the kill switch. It's actually a lot nicer than it sounds. The kill switch allows us to disable anything that's causing an issue without needing an update. When something breaks and becomes exploitable, we switch it off until it is fixed. This is something we've been able to do with maps for a while now to great effect. Disabled items and characters will be clearly marked and cannot be selected. What this means to you, when that one thing breaks and people start to abuse it, you won't have to play against it for a week or two until there's a fix. Such as, you know, certain survivors not making noise or certain killers just teleporting. We know nothing about that, I'm sure. With that, we'll give you a break from reading for today, but we're just getting started. There's a lot more to cover. So come back Monday for part 2, Dead by Daylight team. Come back Monday for part 2, Parklis TV. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Hope you guys enjoyed this. For everybody who stuck it out this far, a like is surely appreciated. And if you want to sub to the channel to let you know when this next one comes out and more videos like it, it's greatly appreciated. You all know how YouTube works. If no one told you yet today, we love you all very much. And remember, stay safe out there in the fog.